So we have Lulu Tunu Kaaya as our next speaker. She is ACARE's African Women in Science Program Advisor. Dr. Kaaya is also a senior lecturer in freshwater ecology at the School of Aquatic Sciences and Fisheries Technology at the University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, where she teaches limnology and watershed management. Lulu is also the Director of Internationalization, Convocation, and Advancement at the University of Dar es Salaam. So we have Lulu with us live today, and it is my great pleasure to work with Lulu on a regular basis on the African Women in Science program. This presentation takes a slight turn for us. We've been talking about models in terms of ecosystems. Now we will talk about models in terms of people, and a program that is helping to raise up gender equality for the African Great Lakes. So with that, I will turn it over to Lulu, who will present for us now.
Thank you, Steph, for such an introduction. I don't know how many times you've done it. Thank you, everyone. And I'm going to start our presentation now. This presentation was prepared jointly by a number of us in ACARE, including Steph herself, but also Kevin Obero and Ted Lawrence. I'm having a problem sharing. So the African Great Lakes, which is working on strengthening science through collaboration in gender equality. And as I've been introduced, my name is Lulu Tunu Kaaya, and I work as the African Women in Science Program Advisor. I'm from Tanzania. Okay, sorry for that. So as the vision of ACARE and IISD, which is to create a world where millions of Africans can depend on healthy African Great Lakes for food, clean water, and reliable employment, supporting a climate of justice, equity, democracy, and peace. And the mission of ACARE is to create highly collaborative systems that strengthen science to positively affect policy and management for healthy African Great Lakes. In achieving the mission and the goal of ACARE, part of it in this year, in 2021, ACARE launched a program called African Women in Science. And the critical part of, it's a critical part of achieving the mission and vision of ACARE. The background for this program is the fact that science is missing in women perspectives, not in contributions. Us as women, we have done quite significant contribution in science in a number of aspects, but not strategically to present our perspective and share our visions. So we think there's a gap that women can be enhanced, their capacity can be built so that they can increase their contribution as well as their perspective in science. And specifically for ACARE, it was seeing how the women perspective can be presented in the African Great Lakes. Now, within the African continent, the African women scientists found in this continent, we have a number of complex challenges, issues that range from individual, social, cultural, but also institutional and even at policy level that somehow affect our participation, our contribution, but also our perspective and leadership in science. So AWIS is looking into seeing how we can look at these complex challenges and see how we can break them down and support women, and particularly within the African Great Lakes. And in doing so, we took a survey from a number of scientists within the African Great Lakes region to identify what are the barriers and see how we can analyze them to probably find a way of bringing up a solution. And some of the barriers that were raised range from cultural and stereotypes, assumptions of the effectiveness of women over men, but also unequal opportunities and gender bias, low numbers of mentorship and active female roles, particularly in science, but also the burden of family responsibilities, which is put on women, somehow hinders career development. So after we identify some of these barriers as raised by the African women in the Great Lakes, we further went and analyzed and saw that they can be grouped into mainly 4 categories. The ones that are based on education, meaning either lacking or getting opportunity or access to education, but also societal preconception was another group where a number of factors fall under it. Economic and financial support that deprive women or segregate women over men, but also the fragmented networks that occur within the community of women. And when we looked at these, when they are put together, they can either support women in science to become leadership and to become leaders and make change, or they can become a barrier for them towards the ladder of leadership, particularly in science. And then when we looked at it from the perspective of the African Great Lakes, for example, we looked at fisheries and aquaculture as one of the important sectors within this region, but also they are critical for food and income generation. And women are active roles. They play critical roles in both food generation and income generation within these areas for support of their families. But they become contributors, or rather more passive stakeholders of these sectors within the African Great Lakes. So our question was, what can we do and how can we build capacity for the African women scientists in the African Great Lakes to actually become leaders? And both IISD and ACARE, through finding ways to answer this question, we came with the program of the African Women in Science. And this program has been developed and has been led for the whole year by the AWIS coordinator, Ms. Angela Nankabirwa. She is also here in this meeting. And myself as the advisor, Lulu Kaaya, and also we have Stephanie Smith from ACARE also, who is a strategic advisor for this program. So the goal of the AWIS is to build the capacity of the early career women scientists who are working on African Great Lakes, but also on freshwater issues. The African Great Lakes occur within 10 riparian countries, as we can see on the map. And the lakes include Albert, Edward, Kivu, Malawi, Nyasa, Tanganyika, Turkana, and Victoria. And the countries at which these lakes are harbored include Burundi, Congo, Ethiopia, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia. So when we are building this program, we try to make sure that geographic representation in terms of participant is considered, where we have participants from most of the riparian countries, but also participants who work or participates in one at least of the African Great Lakes. So for this year, we had 18 participants, and they come from 8 countries and from 6 African Great Lakes. And these are the participants that we have had, the 18. And for us, when we started, we were telling them, this is a joint journey for you towards becoming world-changing scientists. And the group of these African women include graduates, mid and senior career women. And the program has run for 10 months, starting in March. And now we are winding up in the mid of this December. And the modality of running the program, particularly due to the issues of COVID-19, has mainly been online. We have engaged with a number of speakers and carried a lot of activities at a minimum average of twice a month, but also in between assignments and small meetings and small group activities. But everything has been taking place visually for this year. And we ran through a number of modules for this program. We had touched on issues of leadership skills, scientific skills, building on networking skills. And these gaps were identified also by the participants themselves, and of course others who were not participants for this year, but they fall in the range of the same cohort within the African Great Lakes. But also it went along with a number of engaging assignments, but also they were able to develop group and undertake group projects. And we had also a mentorship program where almost every participant had a mentor to assist and help them grow during this year. More importantly, our AWIS program is anchored strongly with the ACARE advisory groups, which are found for almost every African Great Lakes. So our participants have had an opportunity to engage, meet, and interact with members of the ACARE advisory groups for the African Great Lakes. And this helps to ground our program, but also to ensure sustainability of the program's goals, but also sustainability of the skills at which our participants have been acquiring throughout the year. Now, what we say as the key benefits for one who will participate in this program is improvement in career development, leadership skills, collaboration network, but also visibility and recognition of themselves within the African Great Lakes region and also beyond. And mentorship was identified to be lack of active role models and mentors was identified to be one of the challenge towards growth in career for African women scientists. So this was key in this program. And every AWIS participants had a mentor to guide them throughout the program. And of course, some of them may continue to become volunteering mentors even after the program. They also undertook group projects, like I've mentioned, and we had main 3 groups. We had one working on fundable proposals, who by this time they're almost concluding their proposal for submission for consideration of funding. But also we had another group developing an AWIS article based on their experiences during this whole year, and perhaps advising on the future programs. And also we have a group that is working on writing a research paper or manuscript. And as people working with the program, we have also learned a number of things. Of course, our participants are appreciating what they've been learning in strengthening their capacity towards leadership, and their skills have been improving over time, but also they have highlighted the whole issue of the way they've been able to build relationship among themselves with also the advisory groups, and break some of the barriers, even if they're in different geographical places. And of course, there are things that they had highlighted that we are looking forward to improve and include in the coming cohort of 2022. And one of it, which was significant, which was hindered this year because of COVID, is to include the part of international travel, where now they can have a chance of meeting physically, but also meeting other group of scientists and researchers in other places of the world physically. So as for the next cohort, so far we are sure that we shall be able to take them out of the African Great Lakes region to a number of places in the world where they can share experience, but also learn. And as they are shown, they will have a chance to visit the Great Lakes Fishery Commission, the United States Geological Survey, University of Michigan, particularly the School of Environment and Sustainability, and also Michigan State University, particularly the Alliance for African Partnerships will be the host. They shall be able to visit the Grand Rapids, Michigan, the International Association of Great Lakes Research Conference. They will also be present, and Joint Aquatic Science meeting. Lake Michigan, recreational fishing for salmon and lake trout. Great Lakes Fisheries Commission annual meeting. Whitefish Point Shipping Museum, the University of Minnesota Large Lakes Observatory, and the National Institute for Sustainable Development. these are some of the places. This is the roadmap at which they will take. And finally, of course, they will go to ISD experimental lakes area. So for next year, we have made a call. It's open for potential women to apply. And I'm told already quite a good number are already applying. And we are hoping to start early next year. So we have had also our participants who are finishing this year sharing their experience, how much the program has uplifted them as towards becoming women leaders, but also how much it has become an eye-opener for them to discover themselves and to stop undervaluing one's contribution. So these are some of the testimony from our participants that they have said for this particular year. And if we want to learn more of this, visit the website of ACARE. We have been updating on a number of activities, our speakers, but also some of these testimonies from our 2021 participants. So we are calling for, or we are advertising for opportunities to partner and support our AWIS program. We are calling for mentors. We are calling for support on networking events, support for individual AWIS participant grants, particularly the fact we want to be able to take them to visit the northern part, but also specifically on the North American Bleeds activities, as I have highlighted, as they have to visit a number of places. So I welcome you to visit our website and learn more, but also you can reach out through email as shown. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Steph. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Lulu. Fantastic to hear you speak about this great program that I'm very biased because I'm involved with, but it's been wonderful to work on it. We have time for one question. We have to keep moving in our presentations today. The question is being already answered in the chat by Angela, who's the coordinator for the program. The question is about applications for the program. And this is our second full year that we'll be heading into. Angela, thank you for fielding that question. We'll take the question from John Walakira and then keep moving. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, thank you very much for that great presentation. And I'm very happy now that women are taking stand in science. But I would like also to advise that I know that I saw the faces were mostly youth scientists, but they should also get some mentorship for very great African women, especially for African Union, who have done some great job in science, maybe to borrow and even link with them so that they get more advice. There are a couple of names, I can't list them, but also I think it's good also to link up with the private sector because that will also enhance their findings. But I'm very thankful that this ACARE has taken this step. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I've noted that, and we can follow up with you. Perhaps you have some suggestions that will help us moving forward with more connections. We have speakers on a regular basis for the program. And Lulu, I don't know if you'd like to comment further on that, but I've noted to follow up with you. Thank you.
I think that's enough. We'll make a follow-up. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Please continue to put your questions about this program in the chat, and we are going to then move on to our next speaker.